Hey everyone, it's Jonathan here, founder of JM Growth Co. In today's video, I'm going to give you the top 3 things I learned from one of my mentors, Grant Cardone. So now, Grant Cardone gets a lot of mixed reviews. Some people love him, some people hate him. I personally got to know him on a personal level a little bit, and I actually got to like him a lot. The person that you see behind closed doors is not always the same person that you see on all those videos, because you have to understand he is a business and promotional expert. His job is to get your attention. So sometimes if you hate him or don't, or actually love him himself, at least you know him, and that's his goal. His goal is to get 8 billion people on this planet to actually get to know him himself. And after being around him and investing a lot in pretty much all of his courses, all of his masterminds, and kind of really understanding from him and kind of hanging out at his house, going on vacations and stuff with him and stuff like that, these are the top 3 things that I actually learned from him. The number one thing I actually learned from Grant Cardone, every time I leave spending some time with him or at one of his events, is going to be, wow, I was thinking way so small. And from the first time I ever went to an event, I was thinking like super small, right? I thought $1 million was actually the target, and that was the goal. Now it seems so far out of reach. And now I'm thinking bigger and bigger every time. And every time I leave there, I'm like, oh my God, this guy just keeps stretching my brain. Because when you actually think about the mechanics of it, we get kind of stuck into kind of a rut where we understand what the actual goal is, and we understand, okay, and this goal is so far out of reach. But the main thing you have to understand is it's kind of like going to a gym. If all of a sudden you've never been to a gym before and 5 pounds is heavy for you to lift, now all of a sudden 5 pounds is easy. Now it's time to keep moving on to the next level. Now you go to 10, 20, 30, and when you're at 30 pounds, you can't even imagine what 100 pounds actually looks like itself, right? So I've seen just in my own personal journey of, okay, $1 million being a big target, to now $5 million being a good big target, $10 million. Now I'm looking at, okay, how do I actually make $100 million? What does that kind of look like? What does the next level above that look like? And the cool thing about business is it always stretches you to the next level. So thinking bigger is one of the biggest things I actually took away from him. Because when you actually think about it, when you're operating in this small mindset thinking, you're going to be dealing with a certain amount of problems. And sometimes these problems that you're dealing with that come up are not worth it to go through this small goal. So for instance, if your goal is to make $100,000 a year, that's great. That might be huge. But all of a sudden, if you have a $50,000 problem, maybe getting that $100,000 goal is probably not as big anymore, because now all your energy is focused on this $50,000 problem as an example. But if your goal is now to get to $1 million and you got this $50,000 problem, now your goals are so much bigger, your problems pale in comparison. And that's one of the sayings that he likes to say as well. So that's one of the main things I got from it. The next thing is actually going to be commitment, the power of commitment. He used to talk about this all the time. So anytime there's lack of creativity, anytime there's lack of kind of momentum, anytime there's lack of anything, all that means is lack of commitment. And in his mind, you have to commit first before you do anything, which means kind of like that burn the boats mentality. Find a way. If there is no way, make a way type of situation, right? Understand what your outcome is and find a way to actually get to that outcome. If you are truly committed, nothing's going to stop you from backing out. Set high targets, set high goals, work out a game plan. What are the action steps? What are the KPIs that you have to hit to get there? And you will get there itself. And it is an amazing feeling once you actually start working out that muscle, right? And then the third thing I actually learned is going to be how to manage money and view marketing, right? And the third thing I learned is the mindset of when it comes to investing money and how to kind of increase your lifestyle. So one of the things that many people love, but not most people don't know about, is going to be passive income. And passive income, by their definition, means that it's income that you get that's passive, which means you don't have to actively work for it. So in his mindset, the way he teaches is actually, okay, work very hard for your active income, save as much as you can, live on almost none of it, and make sure you save money for taxes and do whatever you have to do there. From there, invest most of that into an asset that produces passive income. Make sure that income keeps coming to you, right? And at that point, now the goal is to constantly keep repeating that, get your skill set even higher and higher on the active income side. So now you can demand more because you're producing more in the marketplace, and you keep cycling this up until your passive income actually surpasses what your needs are to live your day-to-day life, right? And then you have officially being able to be financially free. When the amount of money you generate actually exceeds or at least pays for the current lifestyle that you have, that's financial freedom. That's the definition right there. So that being said, when it comes to the mindset of, okay, how is that different than most people? What they'll do is, okay, let me save, invest in some type of stock market, wait 30, 40 years, and hopefully by the time I retire, I have enough money saved up where now I can just live off that money. And then by the end, I'll be with nothing and I'll die and everything matches, right? So the problem with that is you have to wait so long before you can actually enjoy any of it, right? And then at that point, what happens if you live for 100 or 150 or 120 years old and you didn't save enough money to kind of get yourself going there? How are you going to support yourself? It's very difficult. That's why with passive income, if you focus on that game itself, it does take a lot longer and it makes the game much more difficult to win. But once you win for sure. So what does that actually look like? Just to keep numbers simple. You make $100,000 in active income. Say you're able to invest all that money. If you were to invest that money and that money produced a safe investment that paid out $5,000 per year in that, right? That means it's 5% off of your passive income coming in. And now your job is, if that passive income is steady and secure, that's going to come in every single year. Now your job is to go make another 100 to bring that 5 to 10. Now your job is to go work hard and get that extra 100 because now you're broke again. Make that extra $100,000 and invest it back into this $10,000. So now you're broke. And think about it. When you're broke, do you make better financial decisions than when you got a bunch of money laying around? I know I do. I'm not going to go think about wasting money on a car because I got no money. I've invested it all back to kind of get this passive income going. And then you just keep doing that until eventually you'll have $100,000 in passive income. And if that's your lifestyle goal, you won. Congratulations. Is it going to take a little bit longer? Yes. But is it going to be shorter than actually going 40 years and waiting and hoping and praying that everyone who invested your money correctly? 100%. Because now at that point, that asset that you have should go up in value, has been paying you every single year $100,000. And now by the time you retire, you can actually just chill because at that point, your money is never going to go to zero because the asset won't go to zero as long as you pick the right asset. So the main 3 things I learned from Grant Cardone: think big, commit first, and you will figure it out as long as you're truly committed, and how to properly invest in money to make sure everything's going up, right? So the lifestyle that I live today has only been increased every time my passive income goes up. That was a super important discipline that I learned from Grant Cardone that I'll ever be grateful, because a lot of people kind of make a lot of money, but it's very hard for them to keep it, and it's super hard for them to multiply it. And one of the avenues where you can make money is actually investing in yourself, getting your skill set higher, or if you own a business, let's help you actually grow your business to the next level. So here at J&V Growth Co., we help businesses get through 3 levels of growth. 1, $1 million in sales, 2, $1 million in profit, and then 3, we help you scale and sell if that's what you're after. I've done all those things multiple times with many different businesses, and I can help you out with my team as well. So check out our website, jmgrowthco.com. Again, jmgrowthco.com. We're here to help you out any which way that we can and see if there's a course or a program that fits your needs. Thanks, and I'll see you soon.